I'm going to be speaking on connecting and building networks for unified collaboration. And I did have the privilege of working for the Congressional Prayer Caucus Foundation for 15 years. Part of what I did was help to build and support a network of federal and state government leaders, as well as activist citizens, strategists, as well as a legal network. So all of that was part of the American Prayer Caucus Network and extremely effective in advancing the mission of preserving our Judeo-Christian heritage, religious freedom, and promoting prayer. That network of lawmakers ended up being 1,200 lawmakers at the federal and state level. And again, it was thousands of activist citizens, a Congressional Wives Network. So again, it was incredibly impactful, and I'll go into more of what that consisted of. First, because we've heard a little bit about coalitions today, I wanted to just quickly explain the difference between a coalition and a network. So they're primarily different in two ways. There's the structure, goal, and approach. The coalition is a formal organization with a top-down leadership style, whereas a network is a loose association of people or groups. The goal of the coalition is created to achieve a specific goal, whereas the network is brought together by a common interest. As it relates to approach, the coalition is a one-size-fits-all model, and the network is a center-out approach that uses each stakeholder's strengths. The power of networks. I'm convinced that networks are incredibly key for the future. They're means for streamlined communication, sharing of strategy and resources, and unified mobilization, whether there's a friendly political environment or not. We all have experienced some of the censorship challenges with emails and a variety of other, even social media until recently. So this helps to circumvent those issues with email deliverability by using text strings, Facebook groups, Signal apps, WhatsApp, other platforms that are great for that private communication and collaboration when emails are not getting through and there's other obstacles in the way. Networks are key to exponential impact and sustained transformation. One thing I've learned over time is to know your enemy and sometimes learn from them. A friend of mine, Kelly Monroe Kohlberg, who is a Harvard graduate with over 300 pages of research and citations on something called the engine of harm. So as I speak of networks, this is an incredible graphic that encompasses global networks and how they're working together and the impact that they have had. So the engine of harm shows the network of global giants, which is the World Economic Forum. You can see to the top left, World Bank Group, Fortune 500 companies, technocrats, government leaders, and shadow industries that are collaborating. Their goal is to force neo-communism upon the world. We can learn from this, though. They have shared goals that they have adopted, and each of them have found ways to implement them through their various institutions, governments, and so forth. So again, this is an incredibly effective way that of networks working together, collaborating. We can learn from this. The other thing I want to mention is media networks. Media, oftentimes we'll find that when an issue arises, talking points are parroted by multiple news outlets. This is extremely effective in helping to have networks communicating the same narrative. We can learn from this as well. There needs to be more collaboration of conservative networks and conservative media networks in order to quickly disseminate the truth on specific matters as they arise. The basics of network building: get informed and get connected. First, I want to mention a heart check is critical. It's absolutely critical that we have pure motives and genuine care and concern. The goal is always to encourage, strengthen, provide support, share resources for strategic action. It's not about self-promotion or any of that. It's literally about working together to help make a positive impact. Getting informed. Sign up for emails of groups addressing issues you care about. Liberty Counsel Action, and the various ministry arms of Liberty Counsel Ministries has incredible information that is timely, relevant, and accurate. There's other, Sovereignty Coalition, Frank mentioned the other, showed the websites where you can sign up for information. Those are also cutting edge, just incredible resources for those who want to get informed. Family Research Council at the federal and state level. It's critical to sign up because they're tracking what's happening closely, as are we, and disseminating information for quick action. Another thing to do as it relates to so you get informed and then work to build relationships to disseminate that information. And or take action. Identify like-minded people, government officials at all levels, organizations and networks, and ask for an introductory meeting. Have a 1 to 2 minute elevator pitch ready so that quickly and effectively explains your goals, your objectives, and why they should learn more. How can you help them? Why should they get to know you? This is extremely important when building those networks in order to get people's attention and to continue to start that relationship. Ask for referrals. So one of the things as it relates to building the American Prayer Caucus Network was identifying like-minded leaders who had a good reputation, who were in the battle, and then building a relationship with them once they got a sense of the opportunity and the resources available, asking them if there's people that they would not mind introducing you to. So that's really one of the key ways that the American Prayer Caucus Network was built is by lawmakers sharing how effective the network was and is in helping to advance a common goal. And that went for the state directors as well. There was over 40 state directors across the nation who had state networks as well. And it was all about continuing to cultivate relationship, but also asking for referrals. Attend virtual and in-person events and ask for contact information or business cards, and then add that to a database if you have an organization, or an Excel spreadsheet if you're an individual, for easy retrieval. It's important to get the information, make notes about the person, what you talked about, and keep track of that. That's helpful in helping to cultivate the relationships. Host a regular virtual and in-person meeting or attend meetings to discuss concerns identified or opportunities within your sphere of influence. Consider thinking about inviting local elected leaders, professionals, and all spheres of influence. Once you have the information, you have the connections, continue to cultivate the relationships and work together depending on what level, whether that be federal, state, or local level. I used to be part of multiple groups. I still am part of multiple groups, actually globally, federally, state, and locally. We're all continually communicating and about issues that are timely and working together in various means in order to collaborate and make an impact. Join social media groups, group chats, share information and resources for prayer potentially, or action when relevant. We become hubs. We can become hubs. When I was building these networks, I found myself in the midst of endless text strings and Facebook groups and so forth, and it became a little overwhelming in all these different platforms. But then I realized I have an opportunity to reach leaders and incredibly activist citizens in various nations, honestly, quickly and easily, by staying in these groups, getting to know the people, understanding what they're looking for, and then tapping into the needs based on the information that I was gleaning and able to quickly disseminate that. It's been extremely effective in helping to disseminate information quickly and effectively. Sometimes networks become a movement. I thought I would just hopefully share this quick example that is just, it's hopefully inspiring. Sometimes it feels like, what can we actually do? What can one person actually do? One person can actually change the world. The Congressional Prayer Caucus, an example, is the Congressional Prayer Caucus, which was created. It's an official caucus of the U.S. House. Actually, it's bipartisan and bicameral now. The goal is to protect religious freedom, America's Judeo-Christian heritage, and promote prayer. Started out as one person meeting in a room that was concerned about the trajectory of America, and decided to pray by himself, asking God for solutions. It was months before the original network started to form, which is the Congressional Prayer Caucus, and that I'll share more has actually turned into an incredible movement. Two or more groups are even better together, so one person can change the world. Two or multiple groups are even better together. An example is Liberty Counsel Ministries. Matt and Anita Staver stepped out in faith and started Liberty Counsel, which has blossomed into an incredibly impactful ministry with 10 arms reaching the world and covering numerous topics and needs out there. The Congressional Prayer Caucus, I'm going to go back now to the Congressional Prayer Caucus and just give hopefully a little bit of information that's helpful. The Congressional Prayer Caucus, again, a network of over 100 members of Congress, formed because one man cared and wanted to do something about it. It blossomed into the Congressional Prayer Caucus Foundation, which has the American Prayer Caucus Network, the Congressional Wives Network, and a variety of other networks, which had multiple strategies that were disseminated throughout the various networks and were implemented accordingly. An example of the effectiveness, when the president at the time said that our national motto was not "In God We Trust," that it was "E Pluribus Unum," the network of members of Congress decided to take swift action. They passed HRS 13, which basically reaffirmed our national mottos "In God We Trust" and encouraged the public display. That turned into an entire movement. You can go to ingodwetrust.org and see it. But literally millions of decals have gone up in displays, I should say, displays, whether those be permanent displays in city councils, members of Congress offices, even on frontline defender cars, police cars, uniforms. They're "In God We Trust" can be seen throughout the public square. Some do decals and such, but in the classrooms, there's states that have passed legislation to get "In God We Trust" up in schools. So this one step, mobilized by a network of members, ended up becoming an entire movement that helped, again, raise the awareness that "In God We Trust" is our national motto and had a tremendous impact. The Congressional Prayer Caucus Foundation, which again has that network of 1,200 federal and state lawmakers and activists, thousands of activist citizens in all 50 states, became so powerful that coalitions were formed, of which Freedom from Religion Foundation, American Humanist Society, Secular Coalition of America. There was multiple, I think there ended up being like 12 national organizations that created an entire website to track and expose, do a variety of things in order to stop these networks from passing legislation, having events. I mean, on multiple fronts, there was tremendous activity. So they were intentional in trying to stop the impact. So again, it just shows the impact of leaders when they have a common goal and are connected in various networks. It can have tremendous impact. I think I'm over time. I want to just mention that all of these networks were built. I was, like I said, there 15 years and was part of the building of all those networks. It was done by following the basics that I shared today, just really trying to identify key people, building relationship, helping them to understand how we could help each other, and then seeing positive impact that could then inspire others. And it built into a national network that was tremendously impactful. Also, don't be discouraged by small beginnings. It took quite a while to actually start to see the momentum. It took quite a while, but it is literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of people that have had an opportunity to participate in those networks now. And so you can be a hub and just continue to build with the purest of hearted intentions in order to help make a positive impact on this nation or even globally. Thank you, Dina. I'm going to hand it back to you. Appreciate the opportunity to share.